Hey everyone. So my name is Dan, and I run a business which is all around football and football fan opinion, and it's called JAFA, which stands for Just a Fan's Analysis. So what I wanted to talk to you today is, we came into this industry 2 years ago with absolutely no experience at all. We were university students, and we saw an opportunity, and fast forward 19 months, and this is us, and this is our business. So I wanted to tell you a bit of background about what we saw in the football industry, and kind of how that relates to media and advertising. So rewind way back when, a couple of years ago, we were starting to see the fact that people and how they engaged on social media was changing. Twitter, for example, was not the platform that it once was a couple of years ago. Fantastic for people to be able to broadcast their views. You know, if you're Piers Morgan from a football-related example, it's great to broadcast your views to the wider world. But a lot of people, especially the younger age demographics, millennials, typically didn't want to share their views and broadcast them to the world. They've got work colleagues, friends, family, loads of people that are out, and they don't want to necessarily have their views on, whether it be football, politics, or whatever else might be, broadcast to the wider world. And whilst Twitter was fantastic and the user numbers were growing for people consuming live news, for those engaging and wanting to discuss and debate topics in general, that wasn't the platform that it once was maybe 2 or 3 years ago for them. On top of that, we saw, when we did some focus groups and more detailed analysis, that sports fans particularly were discussing on WhatsApp, discussing on mobile web forums such as Reddit and other kind of traditional fans forums. The discussing football on those platforms was again limited. Reason being is the mobile forums are traditionally web-based, and the mobile experience was pretty poor. If you look at something like Reddit, their mobile app experience is not the best. And on top of that, WhatsApp, I don't know if anyone's like myself, they've got enough WhatsApp chats that are going on. It's always the same people with the same content, the same biases, and it's not necessarily in the exact moment you might want to have some real-time engagement. So we saw all of this, and we went out into the wider world, spoke to some businesses, some brands, and what we realized was businesses, brands, football clubs, organizations really struggled to effectively target and reach sports fans, especially across different age demographics. This was really interesting for us because we thought everybody in the industry was all over the data, was all over who their users were, who their customers were. They knew them inside out. But actually, it turns out that they weren't really using their data properly. And on top of that, with GDPR coming around the corner, a lot of these databases were not necessarily cleaned from machine learning algorithms. They weren't necessarily prepped and ready for, you know, the data war of tomorrow, because data, I think, will be the big weapon in advertising come 5 years, even 2 to 3 years' time down the line. So we took a neutral stance on this and thought, how can we really attack this problem? What can we come up with which is going to be engaging for fans and allow them to have that detailed discussion? And what can we do for brands and businesses and clubs and allow them to basically understand and target and reach sports fans better? So we came up with JAFA. As I said, it stands for Just a Fan's Analysis. And we've got a two-folded solution. On one side, we've got a mobile app for sports fans, which is available on both iOS and Android. What we do is we take all of the latest news that's out there. So everything from BBC, Sky Sports, ESPN, all the way through to your Give Me Sports. We break it down into bite-sized chunks, so then it allows people to get quick bite-sized snips of all the news that's there. And then we run a load of machine learning behind it to see exactly what users click on, what they engage with, and then to make it very personalized and relevant and engaging for them. On top of that, we've got a forum-type environment, almost like a digital talk sport, which allows football fans to discuss, debate, and engage with each other. And what we've been doing over the last kind of year or so is pouring users into that app, learning what they're up to, getting the right data points to make the experience as best we can. And where we're headed to now is a new version of the app, which is coming out and basically to line up with the Women's World Cup in a couple of months' time. And we've learned so much in this time. We know what users like to do, what they're up to, and we've learned that every user is different. And I think this is one of the things worth really drilling down on is some users like to comment all the time. Some users never comment and will never ever comment at all. Some users take in the commenters, and we call them the debaters. Some users love to have a my team's better than your team chat and consistently have that almost war there. Some users like to have a statistical analysis for those into football, the Henry Winter style, writing statistics, stuff on the game, tactics, have that kind of a chat. And some users don't like to comment on stuff ever, and some users like to just see the news, some users like to see comments, but the point is that everybody's different. What our technology allows is for each user to have their own tailored and personalized experience based on what engages them. And we found it to be really powerful. Users are typically using the platform significantly, for several minutes a day on average, logging in multiple times a day, and they're really having, good and valuable discussions on the platform. On the flip side, behind all of this, we've got an enterprise platform for businesses, brands, media agencies, which allows them to better understand, target, and reach for sports fans. We can allow them to do very targeted advertising, very similar to the Facebook console. We can target via a host of primary data points: age, sex, location. Do they like alcohol? Do they like to bet, for example, which are two big spaces in the football space. For us, what we've been able to do with brands is really deliver them true ROI and very targeted advertising above and beyond influencer marketing, for example. Influencer marketing can be fantastic, and there's a lot of fantastic influencers and micro-influencers that have a truly engaged audience and can really deliver for brands. But a lot of influencers are really struggling to deliver true ROI for brands, and brands are struggling to measure that. On our platform, you'll be able to target very specifically a host of people who are right in your age demographic, who are right in the certain targets you want to hit, and also the ability to retarget those people and speak to them in different ways via push notifications, for example, or really make sure that your impressions hit rather than just being a standard impression. So we're doing something slightly different to a lot of the industry that's out there at the moment. A lot of people are still doing influencing and doing influencers. We like to think of ourselves as almost a micro-influencer on steroids to some extent, and we can really deliver some interesting stuff for brands. To date, we partnered up with some fantastic major global brands, so people in the sports space: Puma, Heineken, Betfair, Football Index, Ticketmaster, and we've also now really started working with a lot of agencies, so media agencies. Given the audience of the room today, we're still kind of in the early stages in the infancy due to the nature of the business. We'd love to be able to talk to anybody in an advertising space or the media space, but we'd love to see what our platform can really do and deliver for sports fans in particular. I'd open up for any questions, actually, if anyone has some. Good. So look, my name's Dan. We'll be over by the bar for a little bit. If anyone does want to have a chat, please feel free to come over. And the business is called JAFA, so give it a check out online. And if there are any football fans, give it a download and let us know what you think. Cheers.